The show Swamp People has found himself in a little bit of hot water.
Landry was given 2 citations, both of them for failing to tag an alligator.
It looks like Swamp People is in a bit of trouble. It cost Andrew 2 tickets because he forgot to tag an alligator both times. Imagine living your whole life in the swamp and becoming an expert at catching alligators. Then, out of the blue, you experience a terrible tragedy that changes everything. People who live in the swamp love Troy Landry and think of him as their king. But Landry has been on more than just alligator hunts. No one saw what was going to happen in his life, and he and his family had to pick up the pieces. Today we're going to talk about the hidden story of the Landry family's journey through tragedy, personal loss, and strength. We'll look at how Troy, who has been an alligator hunter his whole life, has dealt with some of the worst times of his life. Troy Landry wasn't always a big deal on TV. Troy was born and raised in the woods of Pierre Part, Louisiana. He is the son of a long line of hunters. It was more than just a job for him. It was a way of life that had been passed down from generation to generation. Troy's dad, Duffy Landry, was a commercial fisherman and showed him how to understand and work with nature. People were amazed by Troy's skill, bravery, and popular catchphrase, "Shoot 'em," when the History Channel first showed Swamp People in 2010. He was a big hit right away because he knew a lot about the water and wasn't afraid of anything. People called him King of the Swamp. However, Troy has always been rooted in family tradition and a strong love for the place he lives on. Fans of Swamp People have been following Troy Landry's famous hunts in the Atchafalaya River Basin for more than 14 years. Being able to find and catch the biggest alligators in the world has made him famous not just in Louisiana, but all over the world. What began as a way for his family to stay alive by getting food from the swamp grew into a multi-million-dollar business. Troy's strong ties to his roots were the start of it all. In his family, Troy is the 5th generation to hunt alligators. He was born in Pierre Part, Louisiana. A gator hunt was more than just a job for Troy. It was his way of life. It's clear to him that he never had a choice. He was born with it. Troy was great at hunting alligators because he knew a lot about the swamp and could guess how they would act with uncanny accuracy. All right, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's attempt to board the boat. Television viewers may have thought that Troy Landry became famous suddenly, but his path to fame was actually paved with hard work, tradition, and a strong love for his heritage. Troy was born in the woods of Pierre Part, Louisiana. The Bayou pretty much shaped his life. Alligator hunting was a big part of the Landry family past and culture. 5 generations of his family had made a living off of the swamp's many but dangerous animals. As a child, Troy learned how to do things from his dad, Duffy Landry. It wasn't just luck that Swamp People were there. It was the result of years of hard work, family traditions, and years of knowledge. The History Channel wasn't just looking for fake alligator shooters to put on a show when they were looking for real ones. They needed someone who was born and raised in the swamp, and whose whole life depended on it. Right there is where Troy and his family came in. They were the right fit because they were known as experienced hunters who knew how important it was to keep the alligator population stable. When the show started in 2010, it brought the Landry family to the public's attention, and Troy quickly became a fan favorite. His catchphrase, "Shoot 'em," could be heard in living rooms across the country as people watched to see the thrill of the hunt and the difficulties that came with it. Fans loved Troy for more than just his catchphrases and high-stakes fights with giant alligators. They liked how real he seemed on TV. He wasn't just acting for the part. The man had mud on his boots and a real love for the land. He was an alligator shooter. The show was mostly about the exciting parts of getting monster alligators, but it also showed the more technical side of the job, which Troy was very proud of. He was good at more than just catching the animals. He knew how they lived, where they lived, and what part they played in the ecosystem. Troy's wide range of skills and deep understanding of the swamp's economy were shown by the seafood delivery business he ran along with hunting. Even though he was famous and had new chances, Troy never forgot where he came from. The swamp wasn't just a place for him to watch TV, it was his home. Every episode showed how much the Landry family loved each other and their craft as they sailed the dangerous waters of the Atchafalaya Basin, not only as hunters, but also as landowners. When Troy wasn't in front of the TV, his life wasn't like the shows he watched. He stuck to the way of life he had always known by working in the family's crab ponds and shrimp lines. Troy's ideas hadn't changed much, even after all the seasons of Swamp People. Pay attention to the water, work hard, and take care of your family. It's easy to see why people felt so connected to him. A TV star, but he was more than that. He represented strength, culture, and the spirit of the Bayou that never dies. Fans saw that Troy started showing up less often on the show as the seasons went on, though. There was a lot of talk about whether or not the king of the swamp had finally stopped hunting. The truth was much more complicated and sad. Troy had always been a rock for his family, but behind the scenes, he was going through a lot of hard things that were hurting his health and heart. Troy was a figure of determination through it all. In the world of alligator hunting, his sons Jacob and Chase have taken up the mantle and carried on the Landry name. He may not be on the front lines as much as he used to be, but his heritage lives on. The Landry family story shows how tradition can be powerful, how strong family bonds can be, and how important it is to follow your heart even when things get hard. The makers of Troy Landry's show Swamp People were looking for real alligator hunters who could bring to life the rich culture of the Louisiana bayous. The Landry family was a great candidate because they were suggested by state wildlife officials, because they were great hunters and followed all the rules. A lot of Troy's fans might not have known that he and his family had been shooting alligators before the cameras came out. They weren't just doing a job, a way of life that had been passed down for many years. At first, Troy wasn't sure if he wanted cameras to follow him around. It made him feel bad to think that his family's private moments would be shown to everyone. But since the country was still recovering from the economic downturn, Troy saw the chance the show gave him as a blessing in disguise. The show gave the Landry family the money they needed to keep their business going during hard economic times. It was a lifeline that kept them afloat and led to new business opportunities, such as lucrative advertising and partnership deals. As the number of Swamp People grew, so did Troy's power. Among other things, he worked with Savage Arms on the Landry signature rifle and started his own seafood business, Crankin' Crabs, which makes an impressive 6 million pounds of crab every year. Even though Troy is famous, he stays grounded. He often says that his success is due to the work ethic that his family taught him. A lot of Troy's fans admire how he has stayed true to his roots, even though he is rich and famous now. Alligator sales and fishing are still the main ways he makes money, which shows that he hasn't changed much from the practices that made him who he is. Troy has done business in other areas besides being an experienced alligator hunter. For example, he worked with Savage Arms to make the Landry signature gun. His success has given him a net worth of almost $2 million, mostly because of his part in Swamp People. Troy is famous, but he stays humble. He says that his success comes from the lessons that generations of Landrys have learned while working in the swamp. Troy's business empire includes successful projects like Cranking Crabs, which brings in 6 million pounds a year. Because the alligator hunting seasons are hard to predict, Troy has been able to protect himself by doing other things. The company has also helped him form new relationships with both local and national brands that see his unique way of life as a way to reach specific groups of people interested in things for the outdoors and adventure. Troy Landry is said to be worth more than $2 million and gets his money from many different sources. His main source of income is the alligator hunting business, but he has also built a strong network through relationships and product endorsements. Troy's part on Swamp People has led to lucrative deals, such as brand promotions, merchandise sales, and even cross-promotions with companies whose products are related to wildlife and the outdoors. His hunting business also brings in money. He is rich because he is good at business and can find a balance between old-fashioned hunting methods and current marketing. Troy's road has not been easy, even though he has been successful. Now that the economy is better, it costs more to hunt alligators. This put Troy in a tough spot. He freely admits that his family's business would have had a hard time staying open without the money that the Swamp People production team gave them. His story shows how strong he is. What looked like a failure turned out to be a chance to change everything. He has talked about how the show helped his family out when they needed it most, like when they were having money problems, and let them do what he loves. Troy has built up a strong fan group over the years. They admire his alligator hunting skills and his simple, family-centered way of life. Fans of Swamp People like how honest he is, how close he stays with his family, and how he doesn't try to be perfect. Troy is still a popular figure, Even though he has been on TV less often lately, millions of people are interested in his personal and professional journey. He stands out on reality TV because of how hard he works and how well he handles fame and family. Troy is different from other shooters because he is dedicated to hunting in an honest way, so that alligator populations can stay stable and the swamp ecosystem stays healthy. He carefully follows the rules, such as the 30-day legal hunting limit. Not only does he follow the law when it comes to protection, but he also cares about the land and the animals that live on it. Troy has taught people how to hunt ethically, and why wildlife needs to be protected through his show, which has made him a recognized figure among hunters and environmentalists. Troy Landry caught 82 alligators in one day, which was one of the most amazing things he had ever done in his career, and left people in awe. A good day for Troy is when he catches between 40 and 45 alligators. So to catch twice as many was an amazing feat. This was a great example of his skills and how unpredictable and exciting life can be in the swamp. But doing such amazing things comes with risks. In this case, Troy got a small cut from a gator's teeth, but he didn't seem to mind. This shows how used he is to the risks that come with his job. People were amazed by him and worried about his safety, which showed how tricky it can be to hunt alligators. Even though he plays a crazy guy on TV, Troy is really just a family man at heart. Troy has been married to Benita since 1981, and his family has always been the most important thing in his life. The two boys they have together are named Chase and Jacob. Troy is also Brandon Landry's stepfather, but he loves him like a son. His relationship with Benita, a famous gospel singer and high school teacher, is based on love, respect, and hobbies they both share. Benita has been nominated for and won a lot of great awards in her work, making her a successful person in her own right. These three people have made a family and a home that show what love, tradition, and hard work are all about. After many years of living in a trailer, Troy and Benita finally got their dream house. The fact that their whole new house is made of cypress wood shows how much they love nature and being outside. It's more than just a house. It's a sign of how hard the family has worked and how determined they are. There are two kitchens in the house, one for Troy's passionate cooking and one for Benita's. This way both can enjoy their food without getting in each other's way. The Landrys are thrilled to have a house that is big enough to fit all of their three sons' families and other close family members. This will allow the family to get together for holidays, celebrations, and special occasions. Even though Swamp People has been very successful, there have been times when they have felt very sad. In recent seasons, Troy hasn't been on as much, which has led to rumors and worry among his fans. Things were a lot worse than people thought they would be. Troy was fighting cancer of the prostate. Troy was shocked when he was told he had cancer, but he dealt with it head-on because he is strong. With the help of his family and friends, he had surgery to remove the cancer, which went well, and he has been on the road to recovery ever since. Troy's son Jacob Landry used social media to clear up reports that his father had died and reassure fans that the king of the swamp was still alive and well. Fans showed so much support that it was amazing. Many shared their own stories of fighting cancer and gave words of hope. People all over the world watched Troy hunt alligators season after season, but the sadness he was going through was always with him. But Troy is used to getting through tough situations. People in his family, like his kids Jacob and Chase, have kept working hard in the swamps. But every hunt brings back the pain of loss. Troy has found strength in his family, his history, and the swamp that has always been his home, even though he has been hurt. This terrible event has had a huge effect on the Landry family. Troy still hunts alligators and shows up on Swamp People, but it's taking a big toll on his emotions. Fans have seen Troy's personality change over time. He isn't the relaxed, smart hunter they used to know. His strength now comes from being a good hunter and being able to keep going even after unimaginable loss, with the love of his family and the memories of those he's lost to help him. Even with all of these problems, Troy's strength is still amazing. Troy keeps going with his sons Jacob and Chase, who are eager to carry on the family tradition. Along with taking care of the gators in the Louisiana River area, they carry on the traditions of a family that has become a symbol of the swamp. Troy cares a lot about his family. Even though he is sad and unsure, he is finding ways to move forward with the help of the people he loves. Now every day in the swamp is a fight to stay alive and keep the family practice alive, which he has worked hard to do. Troy Landry has always been able to fight, whether it was a 12-foot alligator or just life's ups and downs. He did more for swamp people than just catch gators. It shows how strong people can be, how important family is, and how strong our connection to nature is. Troy will keep being a strong and brave leader as long as there are alligators in the swamp and his family is close by. Thanks for seeing it. Do not forget to like and subscribe if Troy's story inspires you. You will soon be able to read more stories about amazing people who face nature's hardest obstacles every day. When reports spread that Troy had died, it was one of the most shocking events in swamp people's history. Fans were very worried about these stories, even though they were not true. They thought the worst. The Landry family had to explain what was going on and say that Troy had been diagnosed with prostate cancer and was getting good care for it. The support he got from his friends was overwhelming. A lot of people shared their own stories with prostate cancer and gave words of support. Fans were excited to see how Troy's health scare would change his part on the show as he continued to get better. Are you sure he could keep hunting, or will his job go in a different direction? Troy's health got better, which made his loyal following very happy, and he was able to go back to the swamp. There have been some hard times for the Swamp People family. The team and fans will always remember the cast members who died, like Mitchell Gist, Tyler Bruce, the Swamp Dog, and Randy Edwards. Each loss has been very sad because of what the person did for the show and because they were a part of the larger Swamp People family. Troy Landry has been a rock of strength through all of these hard times. He is strong not only in terms of his physical endurance, but also in terms of his mental and emotional strength to keep going after a loss. Family, tradition, and society are very important to him, as shown by his story. As the 15th season of Swamp People starts, fans are more excited about what's to come. People are interested in the show again because Troy is still getting better from cancer, his family's business is changing, and there will be a new show with Troy and Jacob called Swamp People. People are still interested in how the Landry family interacts with each other, how hard they work, and the problems they face in the swamp. Even if this isn't the last season, Troy will always be remembered as the Swamp King, and his impact on the sport of alligator hunting will last for years to come.